So yeah, hi everyone. So I'm a software engineer here at Foursquare, and today I'm going to talk about an application we have built here. And I'm in the Places team, where our job is to create systems and flows that we use to keep our Places data set up to date. So on this slide, we can see the homepage of this app. And this is a website which allows users to directly contribute to our Places dataset. So users can create new places, edit existing ones, or vote on changes that have been proposed by others, which we will see in a moment. But as we can imagine, location data is constantly changing, right? So new places open, existing one close, addresses changes, and to keep this data up to date with the real world, this is a complex problem. Even with satellite images and advanced technologies like AI, we still need some kind of a human touch. A satellite can tell us if a building is at certain location, but it cannot tell us if there are coffee shops in those buildings. When are they open? When are they closed? This is my voice. So yeah, and with this app, our goal was to build a way our users could directly contribute to our Places data set. So they can share their knowledge about their local communities and directly improve our data. But before I demo this app, I just wanted to give a bit more context at what we do with Foursquare Places team. So I'm gonna talk a bit what's this Foursquare Places I keep mentioning. Then I'm gonna talk about the Places engine, which is a system that we use to keep our data up to date. And after that, we are gonna demo the app, and in the end, we will gonna have a Q&A session. So I keep mentioning this Places data set. So what is it here? So this is a data set with over 100 million places worldwide, starting from coffee shops, restaurants, museums, and much more. And it's not data just name and address. We have various attributes, more than 50, from categories, when the places are open, does a place have Wi-Fi, is it free, and besides that, we also have a lot of user-centric data, like reviews, photos, even check-ins. But why would you even need this kind of data? So let's imagine that we want to build some kind of a application that depends on some kind of location data. So this can be a food discovery app, a local guide, anything that depends on location data. For our purposes, let's say we want to build a kebab app. So an application where users can go and rate their favorite kebabs. So the first problem we will probably encounter is how would we even show all of our users where can they get kebab spots, right? And I guess the most simplest way, the first thing that would come to our minds, okay, let's create a database. We're gonna fill this database with the places, kebab places we know. We're gonna Google a bit, enter those places as well. But this solution has some problems, and that is that it's pretty limiting. So first of all, there are only a certain number of places that we can add by ourselves, right? And besides that, we will probably add only places that are near us, in our city or in our country, but probably in our city. So with that issues, we are limiting our app for growth. How would we get users in other parts of the world if we only have data that's in our city? But besides this problem, what also is pretty tricky to do is how would we keep our data up to date? So as mentioned, places change its data all the time. Ours change, kebab shops close. What we can do is call each day every kebab in our database and ask, oh, are you still at the same address? But after 2 days, they will probably block us. So here is where Foursquare Places comes in. So from the last 10 plus years, we have been building systems that keep our data in this huge database of places up to date. We have like dedicated teams, automated systems, and now we also have this Placemaker 2 app that basically empower users to contribute directly to this data. Sorry. So how could you access this data? For this scenario that I talked about, you would probably use our Places API, where you can get a developer API key on our developer console, and each month you get $200 worth of credits, and you can use our API. Besides that, if you need some larger amounts of data to analyze it in some way, we can give it in various data formats. And from last year, we started this cool thing called Open Source Places Dataset, where each month we release a dataset with over 100 million places worldwide for free. So you can just go to our website and look at that data and download it, do whatever you want with it. And each month we release a new version where we update the data that has changed over the past month. So each new version is an improved dataset. So now that we hopefully know why you would use this data, I'm going to talk about how do we even keep this data up to date? Why would you even use it? So on this image, you can see a system that we call Places Engine, which is basically a system that you use to keep our data up to date. So on your left side, you can see your reporters, which are basically actors that are responsible for updating places information to our system. So for example, when you see that a location has changed its address, a reporter will go and report this change. Now what's interesting, when this happens, this change doesn't automatically get applied to the place. What happens is it goes into this vow queue in the middle. So a vow is basically a proposed change to a place. And for a vow to get applied, and actually this new value to get committed to a place, what needs to get done is the voters, the actors you see on the right, need to check what is this change, does it make sense, and to vote to agree or disagree with this change. And now only after this proposed change gets a certain number of votes, it will get committed, and this new value will be available in our places dataset. So this voting system, which we can see in this image, is a way we make sure that the data gets verified before it gets committed to the new places. And also what you can see on this image, that both reporters and voters, there are basically two types. We have humans that are on the top, and we have these reporting and voting agents on the bottom. And the Placemaker tools is designed to add support for this voting system for human actors. So, as mentioned, this application allows users to directly contribute to our dataset, to propose new vows, to participate in this voting system. What's also cool, both human and digital agents, they go through this voting system. Even our own programs that we have that report changes, they also need to create vows and go through the voting process and go through the same flow as human changes. So yeah, this is how we keep our data up to date. And now I'm gonna demo the app or go through how it looks in a couple of scenarios. On this slide, we can see the home page of our app. Sorry. And the first thing you will probably notice is this map with various pins. And each pin basically represents a place that has some unresolved changes, which we're going to see in a moment how they are getting resolved. On the left, we also see the same places, but in a list view. We can see what level we are. So our users of the app are split into a hierarchy, starting from level 0, that's when you just sign up, to level 10, where with each upgrade you get new functionalities, like your power is higher. So for example, if multiple users need to vote, with level 1 need to vote to propose a change or to accept a change, where if you're level 10, your votes get committed right away. So now we're going to go through how can you create a new place on this app. So to create a new class, you would click on this label, and basically this page with a form with various attributes shows. And to create the new app, the new place, you will just need to fill in all the input data. So like some basic information like place's name, category, address. And the whole app was built in mind to keep it like intuitive, so that when a user signs up, they don't need to go through like huge documentations to understand how to use it. Like it should just be like, okay, it's pretty understandable. And when you fill all the data and click on the submit button, the place is basically created. Now here I wanted to create a place that already existed in our system. So when I clicked like the submit, I will get a pop-up that would warn me that this place already exists and that I shouldn't like create it. So now we can see like also how would you create edits to changes to places. For example, here I wanted to edit an existing place, some cafe I went to, where I searched for it, found that place, and to actually edit it, I would click on this label, which will show all the existing values for this place. Now, changing the value is pretty simple, like you just change the values in the inputs. Now here I confirmed that the data was pretty good. The only thing that was missing was all the attributes for this place. So I forgot to add a slide with, but this was all empty. And I just selected all the inputs, like does it have free Wi-Fi, outdoor seating, and so on. And when you click like an apply button, this data gets, like those get created, those proposed changes. But now let's see like what actually happens. So how do we resolve the votes? So if I open the same page but with another user, because a user cannot vote on the votes he has created, they have created, they will see all the votes that exist for this place. So for example, here we can see what I did previously. So I created like, okay, the new value for reservation is yes, and much more. And to vote for them, you just need to like select the values you agree with. And when you click on the save button, like these changes get like voted on. And after some votes are like collected, they will get applied to the change. And there are different kinds of vote types. For example, here you can see when there are like duplicate places. So you can see the first pin and the second pin, like you can decide if they are the same or not. Or like if a location changes, you decide if this is the correct new location or not. But what's most interesting to me in this app is like this edit history, where basically you can see the whole history, how the place has changed online. So, for example, here we can see all the changes that I have just voted on. But like there are places that exist for more than 15 years, so you can see like pages and pages of data that how it was updated. And currently we don't have a mobile native app, but the website is totally like mobile friendly. Everything should work there. And what do we have in future? So we will continue like working on this app to make it like more intuitive and having support for more vote types. But the more interesting part, I think, is that we are working with various developers and partners to integrate this app inside their systems. So for example, we talked with a company that will integrate our app, and after their users have voted on a certain number of votes, they would get some cryptocurrency in return. And yeah, for example, on this right screen, you can see like from our developer console, like developers can see what their users have actually done, like how they voted on, and based on these statistics, they can award them. And yeah, this is pretty much it. Thank you.
Thank you, Milos. We have a question here.
Thank you for the presentation. So just quick note. Am I right that the whole system is based on this cryptocurrency? Because if you don't have users which want to commit their efforts into the system, it will not work, right? So it's just.
So yeah, this is basically the problem. That's why we also have like digital agents and humans. So digital agents are really good like in processing larger amounts of data, like thousands of votes, but they lack this human touch. And this is exactly why we are like collaborating with these systems to get much more users. But this kind of an app has actually like existed before in our system. It was just like a bit outdated, and we want to rebuild it to make it more intuitive and to get new users, because the previous app was built like 10 years or more ago. So we have users that are being like participating in our system for over 10 years and like helping improve our data. They have like 100,000 of changes proposed. So these are like level 10 and my users. They are pretty good.
And second question, you show the screen when user can add the new point of interest, right? New something to commit into the system. And you mentioned that it will check somehow that it's already there in the system. This is the question. How the system, what is the algorithm, how it understands that it's already in the system? For example, I don't know, burger shop somewhere, and it has one address, or I don't know, one picture, one like information about that, and user adding slightly different information about that. So how to understand that it's already there in the system and prevent duplication?
Yeah, this is a really good question, which I don't really work on this part of the system, but we have a dedicated team that just does this, and there are various techniques, like if you have latent long, then you can see if they are in a certain location, if they are near. But even that, like for example, last week in countries where multiple languages are spoken, like the same place can have a different name for different languages. And there in Canada, there is a mall that has totally different name on English and on French. And like we were like, okay, why is this duplicated? So yeah, that's pretty complex problem. So yeah, we have humans that do that, but also like we have various these agents with various algorithms that use to predict, okay, what's the match score for this, and if it is.
I just want to add, before I move to the next questions, Foursquare app started in 2009, so for over 15 years, our users have been adding places by doing check-ins, so we are extending that and updating that database over time. Obviously, a lot of things have changed, but yeah, this is another effort to refresh the data we were collecting for over 15 years. We have one, and I'll get back to you.
Thank you very much for your talk. And I would want to ask, what kind of data can I obtain using your API? Right. I'm mostly interested in roads, highways, and streets, basically, but maybe places.
So yeah, that's an interesting question. The problem, I'm not sure if I'm the right to answer this. We have like, I know for sure we have like this places API that can return different kind of categories for places. For example, for that kebab shop case, you can say, okay, return me all the kebab shops in Belgrade. I'm not sure if we have something to return like all the streets and where they are located. We have like pretty various places, APIs, like to get reviews, to get tips, check-ins, there's much more, but not sure for the rest. I can check, come back to you later.
My question might be a little bit provocative, but what are your advantages now compared to OpenStreetMaps, Yandex Maps, Google Maps, and so on? Your data is more full, is more comprehensive, and after all, I think maybe it might be more effective and commercially beneficial if organization, especially commercial organization, put these informations about himself because they're interested in a larger scope of people. So it's their opposite cause and effect relationship between organization and customers. Yeah.
So like, this is a bit complex question, right? you ask why would you use our data against someone else? If I
No,
understand
no, no. What are your benefits among others OpenStreetMaps?
why are we better? That's,
Yeah. Why you better? This first.
I'm a
And
bit biased, but okay. So yeah, but you would need to track by yourself. But I think that we are the only ones that have this kind of systems that where you can just basically go into an app and see how this data has changed over time, right? Not sure if others have something like that on similar apps. And we are basically a location platform.
I would also say that having 15 years of data that users have been adding over time is our advantage. At one point, it was the peak was about 2012. We had about 50 million users. So the number is less now, but we're getting back adding more users. So historically, yeah, you can say, okay, 10 years ago, who knows what happened with the data? But some of these places are still exist or have changed their purpose. So having a lot of real users, people that are updating the data is our advantage. Obviously, Google Maps is much bigger, has much more bigger user base. But like every other player in the field, Microsoft, Bing, Facebook, Amazon, we're also trying to build a product that is relevant, and I think we're doing good.
Yeah, thank you for your presentation. And correct me if I'm wrong, because I might have also misunderstood, and I want to continue Maria's question. I have a small misunderstanding. I have this gap between the motivations of the users of filling your forms. Actually worked in Yandex Maps for some time for the cartographic department, and I actually worked in the moderating and editing maps. And the advantage of Yandex Maps, for example, is that there are like tens of millions of users using Yandex Maps every day, and they're actually like editing all this data all the time, so that they actually use it on a daily basis. And as I understood from your presentation, your like main motivation for developing this app for now is not like daily usage of the users, but the usage in I don't know, some development of other apps, or using this data for something else. So like the outsourced data. So what is the motivation for like users or like some businesses to fill out your form in this term? Thank you.
So, you want to take
I can take this one. So there is a user base. People are passionate about having the data to be as accurate as possible. We have Foursquare app that is now called Swarm, which is part of the ecosystem. Why people are doing that, I don't know. Why your users are updating the app? They probably want the data to be accurate. We have a community of super users who are working on the data because they are data enthusiasts. So I don't know what the motivation is. Maybe you can help us understand why do you think your users are updating the data?
It's, I mean, of course, there are users, and there are probably a lot of them, but are they actually covering all the space, for example, in some city, or they are just like correcting and editing something like around them? Because I'm not sure, like it's about the base of the audience of the app, which makes the data up to date when editing. And the main question is like in terms of motivation, does this fulfill your desire to create this database fully edited?
Obviously, the more people you have, the better the quality of the data is. So that's why we are trying to expand the number of users that are using this tool. It is connected to our mobile app that we also try to grow the number of users. So, for example, when I'm using Swarm and I check into some place and I see that it's not Chinese restaurant anymore, but now it's Korean food or Mexican food, I will update it. Just, I don't know, I like the data to be correct. So I think people are doing that. See the similar thing with Google Maps, with Yandex Maps. You go to some place, you see that it's not the same that it used to be. You added the data, or you add a review, add a photo.
But it happens
Yes.
And does this is this actually the case for this app? So is it supposed to be used like databases?
Yes. I mean, you can edit the data through our check-in app Swarm, or you can use the Placemaker data. So the final source the data gets together. It's merged in the end.
And do you use other open data sources to
Yes. We're scraping data from the internet and updating the data. So, for example, today as we speak, we're getting fresh data, but you need to have the best accuracy. You need human verification. Of course, we are using, as Milos mentioned, automatic agents. We're using AI tools. And in most cases, this is correct, but ideally, you would have this verified by the human on the ground. Sure. Any other questions? Here's one.
Do you use data from mobile device and GPS that Foursquare collects, analyze for your application?
In this application, I don't think so. But for others, I think there are other teams that work on this place, like movements team, where they use this data to see how the people around some places are moving and track-ins to see if they are around certain places, much more.
Yes, I would add to that this is the base data set we have. One is places with more than 100 million places, and the other data set is movements. That's all of us, people moving with our mobile phones. So we are taking care of privacy, no identity is being revealed, but Foursquare knows where all our users are and how they interact with all these places, not just through our check-in app, but through third-party data that we are getting from other sources, either buying or collecting through business deals. So it's also related to the question that was coming from the back. We don't have places on highways, but through our visits and movements data, you can recreate how users move through one day through the city. So this is something we use not directly in places, but it's an interaction. It's like an ecosystem of places and people who are visiting these places with their mobile phones, and we get through the GPS data. Yes. There's one here.
Thank you for the presentation. Follow-up question. What was the reason for this great interest of people and community in 2012 that's decreasing, as you said, a bit now? And what are your future steps to motivate further people to take part?
Well, in 2013, we decided to go a little bit into the EdTech world. So we kind of neglected our check-in app. Looking back now, and from today's perspective, it was a mistake, because now it's much more harder to get third-party data because of all the tough regulations. Having first-party data, your own app with your own check-ins, it's really super valuable. So now we are trying to re-engage the users, to grow the user base. So I know people that are still using Swarm, but it's not on the level that it was 10 years ago. So we are hoping to recreate that again. Any other questions? If there are none, I would thank Milos with a big round of applause. Thank you, Milos.